Hello everybody, and welcome to the video for Unit 8, Day 2. And in today's lesson, we are continuing our work with variables, and this time looking at variable expressions. Today's video is dedicated to Jesus Vasquez in 6C. What up, Jesus? All right, so from yesterday, we learned that in math, a variable, all right, that's our academic vocabulary, is a letter that represents a number. So the variable is a letter that represents some value, some number. And when we're talking about expressions, here's what we mean. So write all possible expressions for 5 times y. So one way we can write 5 times y is 5, and then the little circle, like that, right? That means multiplication. 5 times y. That's one way that we can write 5 times y. Another way is 5y next to each other like that. So this is the same thing as 5 times y. And then another way, and sometimes we see it like this, is if you have 5 and then in parentheses, if you have a number or something inside the parentheses, that's the same thing as 5 times whatever is in the parentheses. So these three are all equal to each other. And you might be thinking, well, what about if I just wanted to do 5 and then the usual multiplication symbol times y? This is technically correct, but the reason why we try not to write it this way is because when you have variables, this symbol right here can look like an x instead of a multiplication sign. So I prefer for you not to write it that way. Try not to write it that way and try to write it like this in one of these ways instead. Okay, so now let's look at the next one. Write all possible expressions for 5 divided by y. So for this, we can write it as 5 divided by, our division symbol, y. That works. And another way that we can write it is 5 as the numerator, and divided by y is y in the denominator. So 5 divided by y is the same thing as writing it like this, which is also equal to writing it like that. So now that we've had this practice, let's try writing some of these expressions using words. So here we have a variable d, so this is d, and then subtraction, right, a minus sign. So we have d minus, and then here, right, this b with the 3 over here. I'm going to use the notes on the right side here. If you have b like this, right, remember that's the same thing as b times b times b, which is b to the 3rd power. That's how we write that out. So d minus b to the 3rd power, which is that right there. Another way, when we were working with volume, right, another way we could have written that is b cubed. So b to the 3rd power is the same thing as b cubed. All right, let's try the next one. So we have 5. Let's do that first. 5. And it's next to something in parentheses. So now it's going to be multiplying by 5 times, and inside the parentheses is u, the variable u, minus 10. And so this is 5 times everything that's inside this parentheses, all of that. So 5 times, and we're going to say the quantity to represent everything that's inside the parentheses, 5 times the quantity of, and then u minus 10. U minus 10. Okay, I know it seems a little weird at first, and we're introducing a lot of vocabulary, but we are going to get a lot of practice with this. So hopefully it'll start to make more sense by the end. All right, now let's look at this one here. So in the numerator, first we have 3. So let's write that first. 3. Uh-oh, pen's running out. Let's try a different one. Let's go back to purple. 3. And then there's a fraction bar, so it's being divided by what's on the bottom. So 3 divided by and it's being divided by d plus f. So we have to be very clear that it's 3 divided by everything in the bottom. So we're going to say divided by the sum of, because the sum is what we get when we add things together, the sum of d plus f. So 3 divided by the sum of d plus f. Okay, so using these 3 examples as a starting point, I want you to go ahead and try to write out the expressions for the rest of this page, which is page 4. Just look through it carefully, write it out as best as you can, and then once you finish this page, if you have time, then you can try this additional practice on page 5. Okay, so with that, you can close out of your computers, sign out, and finish the rest of this page. Good luck.